A standard political map displays a world divided by geographic borders, but mapping power by territory alone obscures the mechanisms of systemic stability. A meticulously engineered machine maintains global stability, functioning as a self-correcting system designed to orchestrate human activity. Within this framework, power is measured through functional domains, specific sectors of human activity that create an integrated framework of governance. The architecture relies on 4 primary domains: military enforcement, financial and legal regulation, diplomatic mediation, and moral authority. Understanding international power requires looking past the daily friction between sovereign states to observe the mechanical operation of the machine beneath the headlines. The Global Pillars model functions as a clinical matrix designed to orchestrate international power through 4 distinct functional domains. This architecture operates on a functional interdependency, where each node is specifically engineered to compensate for the inherent limitations of the others. The model seeks to manage every facet of human activity, ensuring the system leaves no vacuum for unsanctioned movements or external disruption. To understand how this machine sustains itself, we must construct the architecture from the ground up, beginning with its most visceral layer. The machine's systemic balance relies on a physical perimeter to protect the interior framework from entropy. The United States serves as the primary custodian of the military domain. Within the machine, this role carries the clinical codename roughness. Roughness is a clinical descriptor of the tactical strength and friction required to define the physical boundaries of the international system. This pillar provides a physical backstop, securing the system's perimeter and acting as the final enforcer when soft power and diplomacy fail to reach objectives. While force defines the arena, it cannot organize or govern the complex economic and civil interactions that occur within it. Transitioning from a battlefield to a marketplace requires structural blueprints to manage the activity within the physical perimeter. The United Kingdom manages the second pillar, overseeing the domains of law and finance under the codename Harmony. By standardizing the pulse of global trade, this pillar creates the transactional predictability and stability necessary for international markets. This is paired with a universal legal architecture that establishes structural integrity for civil and commercial conduct. Harmony handles resource allocation, generating the revenue required to sustain the military roughness of the first pillar and the diplomacy of the third. This structural order forces sovereign nations into continuous interaction, which inevitably generates state-on-state friction. This friction threatens the structural engine, unless a diplomatic safety valve is integrated to vent the pressure. France manages the third pillar as the neutral force, overseeing treaties under the codename Love. Geopolitical love acts as the spirit of reconciliation and the diplomatic glue that binds hostile interests together through formal international agreements. France provides the neutral site necessary to forge binding agreements, ensuring that dialogue remains a viable alternative to conflict. Without this neutral mediation, the hard power applied by the United States appears as rogue aggression, losing its systemic role as a protective backstop. While force, law, and diplomacy manage the physical world, the system requires a mechanism to win the psychological consent of the governed. The Vatican holds authority over the religion domain, acting under the codename Honor. This pillar provides the spiritual architecture of the system, addressing the psychological and ethical dimensions that force and law cannot reach. Faith acts as a functional tool for social stability, bestowing a moral seal of approval that grants the entire global order cultural standing. This psychological safeguard ensures the governed perceive the system as righteous, neutralizing the impulse for mass revolt. If the moral mandate of honor fractures, the system is exposed as merely coercive, turning a functioning ecosystem into a collapsing matrix. The failure matrix functions as a systemic stress test, revealing the consequences when a primary component is removed from the closed loop. Removing Pillar 1, the United States, leaves the architecture in a state of total system vulnerability. Without military friction, the system loses its physical backstop, inviting immediate disruption of its borders. If Pillar 2, the United Kingdom, fails, the model enters operational anarchy. Standardized trade rhythm dies, and the global market devolves into an uncoordinated battlefield of random conflict. Removing Pillar 3, France, results in perpetual friction. International dialogue collapses, and raw force becomes rogue aggression, leading the system into a state of total war. The failure of Pillar 4, the Vatican, triggers social fragmentation. Deprived of an ethical mandate, the architecture is viewed as a cold machine, prompting mass civil revolt. This matrix reveals that influence is an integrated system. A failure in one domain forces the surviving pillars to distort or become predatory. The 4 pillars maintain the machine through a network of visible international organizations that manage the day-to-day operations of each domain. Platforms like the UN General Assembly provide the visible theater for international diplomacy and treaty management. Financial extensions such as the IMF are utilized to enforce the economic rhythm of harmony globally. The core pillars drive these organizations as gears required to complete the mechanical operation of the global machine. This model establishes 3 systemic truths, beginning with functional interdependency. Force, law, diplomacy, and faith cannot operate safely without one another. Second, global order is a manufactured, self-correcting loop designed to manage the totality of human society. Third, no single domain or entity can maintain global control in a vacuum. Geopolitical influence is an integrated system of roughness, harmony, love, and honor,